Well, the dialogue has certainly escalated a great deal in connection with climate change, and that's probably a good thing. It comes with a couple of dangers, though. One is a bit of, I think, slightly excessive concern with the impact of air travel, particularly long-distance air travel, because long-distance air travel is necessary for sustainable tourism that does a fair amount of good, just in terms of protecting natural resources, protecting heritage areas, and of course benefiting the economies of the places where this occurs. So I am concerned particularly if the most conscientious travelers now think it's a good idea not to travel by air and that they're going to be helping the environment, when in fact they could be hurting it. Because if they do not continue to go to the rainforests of Costa Rica or the plains of Africa or some of the great World Heritage historic destinations, what's going to happen to those places without the tourism? And asking several hundred experts around the world what they think of the sustainability status of a particular destination. So this is what they think. It's not what National Geographic Traveler thinks. And they thought the Galapagos was in deep trouble. Now, since then, there have been quite a few signs of a turnaround as far as the future is concerned there. They've been listed by UNESCO. Ecuador is responding to this. They're talking about new plans for better stewardship of the Galapagos. It's not surprising that islands that tend to be in northern waters without good beaches, gray skies, they tend to do pretty well in terms of stewardship because they're not being overwhelmed by excessive tourism in most cases. So in a way it's an easy win for islands of that sort. What is significant are tropical attractive islands that are still in the above average range, usually because they have not been overdeveloped yet. Another non-surprise, the flip side of this coin, was that islands that were extremely heavily developed, that had great numbers of cruise ship crowds at all times, scored rather low, consistently so in the eyes of our experts. We also saw a new phenomenon for the surveys, and that is there's a growing number of islands that are literally too rich for their own good, meaning the property values have gotten so high that local people are being forced off the islands, and we're seeing this in various parts of the world. In the U.S., Nantucket, Martha's Vineyard, the Channel Islands off the U.K. There's beginning to be some concern about that in the Bahamas, for instance. And this is going to be a new challenge, because the problem with this is that if islands become the exclusive property of the rich, they've lost all their authenticity. They've also lost their workforce. And the definition of geotourism is tourism that sustains or enhances the geographical character of the place. That's where the term comes from. And by geographical character, we mean the environment, which is like ecotourism, but we also mean heritage, aesthetics, culture, and the well-being of local people. Everything that goes into making the place a place. And because the concept brings the focus to the place, we think it's got a certain attraction maybe that sustainable tourism doesn't quite have, because it's a little vaguer, and yet you cannot do geotourism without being sustainable. It is absolutely mandatory. And one of the requirements for doing, say, a geotourism map guide when we're involved is that the communities have to participate. And they have to form a geotourism stewardship council that's going to be involved in this, and we hope remain there basically forever, long after the particular project we're involved in is done.
Charter?
Yeah, we have a geotourism charter. Honduras was the first country to sign it, and they're about to reaffirm it, we decided at this meeting. And the charter is a set of principles that incorporates into it, by one of the principles, the Global Code of Ethics that UNWTO has developed, the ICOMOS Charter for heritage sites, and adds to that several other principles that focus, again, on sustaining character of place. And in fact, we have this year made a commitment under the Clinton Global Initiative to do what we can to amass, I hope with the help of other partners, a $25 million initiative aimed particularly at poverty alleviation through tourism, but in a sustainable way.